DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to occur. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show, one daily masterclass that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. And today's topic, today I'm going to give you a vaccine. Yes, you heard me correctly. Today you're going to get a vaccine. Actually, today and the next couple of days, we're going to call this the vaccination series. I'm going to give you a vaccine for hustle porn. All right, not a vaccine for COVID, but a vaccine for hustle porn is what I'm going to give you in today's episode. I'm going to give you a couple more vaccines the next couple of days here. Now, I saw this post on, actually, let me back up. Let me back up all the way here. All right, what is hustle porn? Before I even get into anything else. It is any type of material, whether it's a motivational speech, whether it's some content that somebody puts out online, including myself, a meme that someone has posted that emphasizes, whether it does it in a covert way or it does it in an overt way, whether it says it explicitly or it kind of tries to insinuate to you that unless you have already reached every goal that you want to reach in life, that unless you have done that, you must always be hustling and doing some form of, quote, productivity, close quote, in order to get there. Meaning, okay, you want to make $10 million in your life. All right, you only got $2 million so far. What are you doing watching TV? What are you doing sleeping? What are you doing eating lunch? What are you doing spending time with your kids? You need to be out there hustling. All right, you haven't created that business that you want to create yet. You got to be out there hustling. Look at me, I'm hustling and I got more success than you. That is hustle porn. Anything that makes you feel, whether it is did it on purpose, whether this person is just sharing what they're sharing and you end up feeling that way. Hustle porn is relative in that way. So you can look at something that somebody's doing and it can make you feel lesser, even though that wasn't their intention. They just put it out there and you took it that way. They can be hustle porn to you. So hustle porn is anything that makes you feel like something is wrong with you because you are not working hard enough or being, quote, productive, close quote, enough. Now, I know that there are people in this audience who have this challenge because they told me that they want to feel more productive. They feel like they're not doing enough. They feel like they are just not putting enough effort into it. They feel like something's wrong with them because they are this age or they've been at the game this long or they see these other people doing this thing and that thing and this person, the person who's talking to me, doesn't have the same success as these other individuals. So it's kind of gnawing at them or maybe just eating you alive like some wild dogs. And you're some type of loser because you're not being as productive or hustling as hard as somebody else who you may see out there. Now, let's be clear. All right, you're listening to a person who's put out an episode of a show every day for 2,000 days straight and has put more content on the internet than anybody else out there. I got a tattoo on my arm that says work on your game. Listen, I do espouse hard work and working hard while you're at work. I espouse both of those and I will always talk about those things. Understand something else that I want you to understand coming from me. Your life need not be one long, continuous hustle. I want to make sure you understand that I believe in all of these things. That yes, you should work hard. Yes, if you're at work, you should be actually fucking working. At the same time, you don't need to be just on a continuous treadmill of hustle for all of your life. And today we're going to talk about that coming from this guy who says, work on your game, how hustle porn may be, beating you down in a way that it doesn't need to. So I'm going to give you a vaccine for hustle porn. This is not going to eliminate the presence of hustle porn, okay? So the virus will always be around, okay? There are new strains coming out, all right? You may have to wear a mask forever, all right? We may still need the social distance, even if you've been vaccinated, but understand that I'm going to give you a vaccine so that even if the virus happens to get into you, your symptoms will not be as strong as they were if you didn't have the vaccine. And you may need your vaccine passport to get into certain locations and certain events moving forward in the future. All right, you either wear a mask, you either get a vaccine or wear a mask until you do. All right, all that being said, let's get into our points. Number one, topic once again is a vaccination for hustle porn. No, yeah. before I forget, let me remind you that I have a text line where I want you to text me and tell me the best thing that you got from today's masterclass. What are you going to do different? How are you going to think different? How has this changed your energy or your outlook overall about yourself or about your life or about your work based on what you heard today? My number is 305-384-6894. Send a text to 305-384-6894 and let me know, yes, that is my number. Yes, I will respond to you. And you will also get my daily motivation text messages every morning once you send me a text and let me know what you got from today's masterclass. Point number 1, the right work is more important than more work. Now, for the entrepreneurs out there, I mean, the full-fledged entrepreneurs, you got a business that's running, it's up and running smoothly. I know you're still working hard, but it's up and running smoothly and you have a pretty good idea of what you're doing and how you're doing it. You probably understand this, but think back to the time when you didn't understand it. And any of you who are up and coming at anything that you're doing, whether you're trying to put together a little side hustle, whether you're trying to build your business into a full-fledged thing, doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be an athlete just trying to get better at your sport. I hear from athletes all the time who say to me, well, Dre, I'm practicing, but I'm not quite sure if this practice is going to make me better. Here's the thing I want you to burn into your head. The right work is more important than more work. This is the number one ingredient for your hustle porn vaccination. Working smart is better than working hard. What exactly does that mean? Because people throw that phrase out there all the time, right? Work smart, work smarter, don't just work harder. What does that mean? Let's get clear on what exactly that means. Because you might not know what the right work is yet. And as things change with you and things change in your industry, whatever is the right work today might not be the right work a year from now. So here's what you need to do. And we're going to get into what it means to do the right work. First of all, you do work long and hard for one reason. All right, so when you're doing work, you need to have a reason for your work. You work long and you work hard to figure out what the right work is. Now, once you have figured out what the right work is, then you focus in on that right work. Now, let me tell you some shortcuts to figuring out what the right work is. Go find someone who is already achieving in the area at which you wish to achieve, who is already achieving at the level at which you want to achieve, and get the information from them. Whether you have to pay them, whether you need to listen to their show, whether you need to watch their YouTube, whether you need to get on their team, whether you need to join their coaching program, whatever it is, you are investing in a shortcut. You are paying to buy time, and time is more valuable than money. You need to find out from that person, how did they figure out what the right work is so that you don't need to put as much time into figuring it out as they did. Because time is the one thing that you can't renew that. Now, you can renew money. You can't renew time. So find out what that right work is for you. This is why athletes have trainers. This is why business people have coaches. This is why anybody who is good at what they do have people around them who can see what they can't see, who can maybe recognize their blind spots and help them find out, all right, what is the right work that I need to do here in this space? I talked about blind spots in episode 1877, just 3-4 days ago, about recognizing your blind spots. All right, you need to figure out what this right work is, but you don't necessarily have to do it all yourself. So what does the right work mean? Now that I've made it clear why you're going to work hard and how it leads to the right work, the right work is the type of work that will produce the key performance indicators that you want to achieve. Now, what exactly does that mean? What is a key performance indicator? Key performance indicator are the results, the ROI, the production, the outcomes that you want to produce from the work that you're doing. For example, if an athlete says, I want to become all state, or I want to make the all-star game, or I want to be number one in my league next year in scoring. Let's say you're playing basketball. They want to be number one in the league in scoring next year. That is your outcome. That is your key performance indicator. You know that you did the right work when you achieved this outcome. Now, how are you going to achieve that outcome? Well, we don't know yet. You might have to do some experimenting. You might have to do a little bit of hard work. You might have to call your coach. You might have to hire a trainer. You might have to reach out to a player who has already achieved it and ask them what they did. You may need to ask a player who has seen you play before and ask them, where can you improve? These are all ways you can gather information that can help you figure out what is the work that I'm going to do. Now, this all could take a little bit. All of this could be hard work. All of this could be long work, getting the information so you can go in and start doing the right work. If the right work is for your business, for example, let's say you sell widgets and you want to sell 25 widgets a day. And you know that right now you're selling about 5 widgets a day. So the right work is something is going to 5x the work that you're already doing. Well, how will you get there? How are you selling the 5 right now? You might need to do 5 times as much. Maybe not. Maybe you need to do something a little bit different. How will we know? You must experiment. This is long work. This can be hard work. You might need to reach out to someone who knows better than you. You might need to hire a consultant. You might reach out to someone who's selling 200 times as many widgets as you and find out how they're doing it and see how you can kind of scale it down maybe if you don't have the resources that they have and see how you can get a similar result. But this can take a little bit of time. This can take a little bit of effort, maybe a lot of time and a lot of effort. This is how hard work can lead to the right work. The only way that hard work can lead to the right work, however, I want to make sure you notice this, is you must know what you are aiming for. What is your outcome? What is your KPI? That stands for Key Performance Indicator. How do you know that you are performing at the level that you want to perform? You need to have an outcome for which you are aiming. If you don't have an outcome, then it's hard to know if your work is working. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, this had to be about 2016, maybe 2017. I was speaking to a room of high schoolers, and there was a kid in the back of the room, young black kid, and they knew that my background was in basketball. And the kid was saying to me, well, my goal, because I was explaining to them that you want to have goals that you're looking to achieve. And he said, well, my goal is I want to be an excellent basketball player by this time next year. And I challenged him on that and said, well, define excellent. And he couldn't really define it. So I helped him understand, listen, yes, I would love people to call me excellent, but in order for me to know that I'm excellent, I need some key performance indicators. I didn't use that exact phrase with him, but it's the same thing that I'm explaining to you. I asked him, okay, well, how many points is that? How many rebounds? Do you want to be a starter? How many minutes per game do you want to play? All right, how many recruiting letters do you want to get? What do you want to happen that you can measure, that you can look at and say, yes, I did it, or no, I did not, that's measurable, that anyone can understand? That's a key performance indicator. If you can't measure it and look at it and check the box yes or no with a clear outcome, it is not a key performance indicator. Doesn't mean it doesn't matter, but it needs to be a key performance indicator. So for example, feeling good is not a key performance indicator. But scoring 22 points per game, and not 21.5, but 22, that is a key performance indicator. Feeling good about let me not use feeling good again, but people liking my Instagram posts is not a key performance indicator. But getting at least 100 likes is a key performance indicator, something that you can measure. When you have a key performance indicator, then you can say, okay, my work is leading to this outcome. This is the outcome that my work is leading to, but you need to know what you're aiming for. In other words, you can't score if you don't have a goal. So when you work long and hard, figure out the right work, then focus on it. The purpose of hard work, let me be clear, is identifying the right work. And then once you identify the right work, here's the next step. You utilize the 80-20 principle, also known as Pareto's principle, to work hard on the right stuff, the stuff that produces your desired return on investment. But you must have a desired return on investment in order to even use this principle at all. 80-20 principle, for those who are not familiar, I believe I did a masterclass on this. I'm pretty sure that I did, but if I didn't, I will. Yes, I did. Episode number 330, putting the 80-20 principle to work, also known as Pareto's principle. What it means, very simple. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. 80% of your sales come from 20% of your customers. 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of the things that you do. 80% of what people hear comes from 20% of the things that you say. All right, in other words, when you look at your efforts and your outputs in life, understand that most of the results are coming from a very small percentage of what you are doing, which means the following. If you really take a look at that and you start to pare it down, you will realize that most of the things that you're doing, you don't even need to be doing to still get the same outcomes that you're getting right now. And this is how you can save effort, you can save time, you can save energy, you can save attention, and you can save focus. Your 5 forms of investment from episode 609 by focusing on the essential few over the trivial many. That is, again, episode number 330. When you realize that you go into the gym, let's say you want to get big muscles, or you want to lose weight, or you want to get six-pack abdominals, 20% of the things that you're doing in the gym are producing the results that you want. So you might have big muscles and look great right now and be in great shape right now and have 8-pack abs right now. Most of the stuff you're doing in the gym is not actually contributing to that outcome. You're doing a whole bunch of extra stuff that doesn't even matter. Now, once you start 80-20 in your work, you can, instead of spending an hour a day in the gym, you only need to spend 25 minutes a day in the gym, and you'll still get the exact same result. That's how the 80-20 principle works. Instead of spending $100 a day in advertising, you can spend $15 a day in advertising and still make the same amount of money. That's the 80-20 principle. So if you're not familiar with that principle, go listen to episode number 330, putting the 80-20 principle to work. That is how you turn long work into hard work. Point number 2, today's topic once again is a vaccination for hustle porn. Number 2, hustle porn is often a virtue signal sent by people who are either validating themselves or confirming their own commitments. What does that mean? It means someone is showing you how hard they work and they are aiming to be admired or congratulated for that work. All right. That's a winning outcome for them. And it's not necessarily hurting anyone that they're doing it. It's just something for you to keep in mind so that you are not inflicted and think that you have to do the exact same thing. Or you, I shouldn't say inflicted, I say infected. And you feel like you had to do the exact same thing. People use hustle porn often. It's just a virtue signal. It's just their way of saying to people, hey, look at all this hard work that I'm doing, because it makes them feel good that they're doing the work and that they're being recognized for it, cheered on for it, liked, commented, saved, engaged with, whatever, because they're showing you that hard work. They are validating themselves. They did all that hard work and they're looking for some validation for it. So, hey, at least I got all these Instagram likes. That makes it worth it. All right, so make sure you can kind of sift through what somebody's showing you versus what is the actual value of it to you, if any. Maybe there's none at all. People showing you how hard they work, again, the admiration that they get from it might be why they're doing it. That can be enough for some people. This is the great thing that social media has done, or at least on the behalf of social media, great thing for them, as to people will just share certain things about themselves just so they can get the validation on social media. That's the payment for them. That attention matters something to them, and attention is one of the 5 forms of investment. People do want it. People do a lot of things just to be recognized and attended to. And you as well, me as well. None of us is an exception. But I just want you to make sure that you understand when someone's sending you a virtue signal, it doesn't mean you need to go do the exact same thing. Just keep that in mind so that you're not infected and think that you need to do what you see somebody else doing, even if this person is successful, however you measure and define that word successful. Even if they have some of the things that you want to have, doesn't mean you have to do things the exact same way that they're doing or that they portray themselves as doing them in order for you to get it. Another thing for you to keep in mind, a lot of hustle porn is found on the internet when all of us get to show the highlights of our lives. Just because someone is portraying that they're doing a certain thing a certain way does not necessarily mean that that's exactly what they're doing. It doesn't mean that's exactly how they're doing it either. All right, that's the great thing about social media for all of us, is that we can make things look however we want them to look. If we're clever enough, doesn't mean that it's the truth. And you need to be discerning enough. And I talked about discernment in episode number 1431. Discernment is your skill, perception, and judgment. You need to be discerning enough to understand just because somebody's showing you something doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. Don't be fooled by everything that you see. As they say, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. And on the internet, I say believe about 10% of what you see and about 1% of what you hear. All right. Yeah. Oftentimes when someone's showing you hustle porn, one of their goals is to make a show of how enjoyable the hustle porn is. So you feel as if you are missing out by not partaking in the hustle porn. All right. They're playing on your FOMO. FOMO meaning fear of missing out. People are showing you how they're doing something a certain way, and they're looking to entice you to feel like you're missing out by not doing things that way. And the only way to do things the way that they're doing them is to sign up for their course or follow them or listen to everything that they say. Don't be fooled by that. All right. Again, this is a skill of discernment. This is a skill of emotional management to not buy into your own FOMO, because FOMO is a real thing with human beings. You got to be able to discern, am I just feeling FOMO because the way this person is being persuasive, or is there some real substance behind what this person is doing? Don't be fooled. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is a vaccination for hustle porn. The goal of hustling, the goal of work and putting out effort is production of a result. That's the only reason that we work. We work to produce a result. The purpose of work is not just to work. The purpose of work is not just to say that you did the work. Remember that we are all in a results-based business. I talked about choices now, results later, episode 827. In episode 822, change your story, change your results. Episode number 405, why you are getting the results that you're getting right now. It is not because of luck, good or bad. Episode 1781, how to emotionally detach and still produce results in your life. Episode 1765, using formulas to achieve sustained, predictable results. And episode number 1443, life is a results-based business. Again, it's episode 1443 of everything in that list. That's the one that is most related to what I'm talking about right here. Understand that hard work can and will help produce results. Of course, yes, hard work can produce results. All right, do not misconstrue the message here today. But understand that hard work produces results most predictably and most efficiently when that hard work is done strategically. Let me say that sentence one more time. Hard work produces results predictably and efficiently when the hard work is done strategically, not when the hard work is done randomly. What happens with people when you start to become addicted to hustle porn, and there should be a 1-800 number or some kind of Alcohol Anonymous like group for hustle porn. When you start to buy into hustle porn, is what happens is you're randomly doing hard work because someone showed you that their hard work produced an outcome, but they're not telling you about the efficiency or the strategy behind it, if there is any. It might not be any. All right, again, this is why you need the skill of discernment, episode 1431. You see how all this stuff links together. Usually we turn to porn when, and this is just, I'm stepping outside of the hustle porn conversation. We just talk about porn, period. Everybody knows what pornography is, right? If you don't, Google it, but don't click on any websites. All right, but usually we turn to porn when regular sex is hard to come by. But if you're having sex on a regular basis, you probably don't need porn. All right, it's funny but true. So it's the same thing with hustle porn. If your work is producing the right kind of outcomes for you and you're doing it efficiently and strategically, you don't need to look at any hustle porn because you're not thinking that there's something wrong with the work that you're doing. Therefore, you need to figure out what's a different way that I can do this work. It's when your work is not producing the outcomes that you wanted to produce that you start looking around. You get that wandering eye and you find a porn channel and then you start looking at this hustle porn and they have you thinking that you need to do things the way that they're doing it. And it feels good in the moment, but when you're done, you're just sitting there by yourself. All right, we know all the metaphors when it comes to porn. If you don't, you can Google a few of those. Don't Google too many of them. Again, hard work done strategically and efficiently produces outcomes, not hard work that is done randomly. Let's recap today's masterclass, which is a vaccination for hustle porn. What is hustle porn? It is any type of material that emphasizes that unless you are at your goals, you must always be hustling and doing some form of productivity. If you're not, then you are some form of loser. Listen, I do espouse hard work and working hard while working. I'm the work on your game guy. Understanding life does not need to be one long, endless hustle. Point number one, the right work is more important than more work. If you remember one thing from today's masterclass, remember that sentence right there. Working smart is better than working hard. Now, if you work smart and hard, that's when you get magic. Now, you might not know what the right work is yet, and that's why you do hard work. You do hard work so you can figure out the right work, and the only way you know when something is the right work is you must have a key performance indicator, at least one, to know what outcome for which you are working. If you don't know what outcomes you're looking for, you will never know if your work is actually working. So use the 80-20 principle. Again, that's episode 330. Point number two. Hustle porn is often a virtue signal sent by people who are either validating themselves or just confirming their own commitments, which is actually two forms of the same thing. Showing you how hard they work to be admired or congratulated is a winning outcome for them, not necessarily about them producing any results. And it doesn't necessarily hurt anybody, but it can cost you a lot of time if you do not have the skill of discernment in noticing the bullshit when somebody is showing you some bullshit. They're playing on your FOMO. Do not be fooled. Point number three. Remember that the goal of hard work is to produce a result. The goal of hard work is not just to do hard work. We are in a results-based business. Again, it's episode 1443. Hard work can produce results, yes, but hard work that produces results should be done strategically and efficiently, not randomly. Usually we turn to porn when we don't get enough regular sex, but if you're having sex on a regular basis, you're not even looking for porn in the first place. So you need to look at yourself and ask yourself, what has led to you to even be looking at the hustle porn channel in the first place? Send me a text and tell me best insight you got from today's masterclass. What do you want to do different? How are you thinking different already based on what you heard? My number is 305-384-6894. Again, 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre all day.